All right. So one of the things is, as David's brother, one of the things last year I got a chance to do is come out here and MC the racers as they're coming in, right?
Mhm.
And so I announced you there, and then we kind of added some other stuff to it. So we did some things where, we told dad jokes and other stuff like that. And so Dave asked me to come back again this year. And one of the things I told him, I said, really, what I want to do is to make sure to try to capture what it's a great opportunity for to engage. And this particular race is, from the other ones I've been to, is just really unique in the sense of the family atmosphere and just the uniqueness of it. But one of the things I told Dave I wanted to do is I wanted to try to capture the stories, right? The testimonies behind the race, right? Because we all show up, whether it's a volunteer, a participant, it's just a spectator. We're all invested in it in some form or fashion, and we're all here. But then we go home, we go back, right? And life continues on. And I really wanted to make sure I try to capture while I was here, just different aspects of the race that we don't all get to see. So what I'll do is I'll just, if it's okay with you, I want to get your name, and obviously, Dave and I have already a little pre-conversation, but want to kind of get your story of obviously uniqueness of you just arriving today, but obviously the history with the race itself. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Louanne Bender Long,
Mm-hmm.
and we at one point had lived in Hughesville and then moved to Harrisonburg, Virginia, where I continued with my education. So I'm a psychologist,
Okay.
and Rudy was a home inspector. We had three boys, David, Daniel, and Timothy. They all went to Hughesville High School and then graduated down in Harrisonburg and all have lives down there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, and how are you? What's the story behind being connected to the race
To the
here?
race,
Yeah.
Daniel, our middle son, decided that he wanted to race. He has a very stressful job. He's a school counselor in Harrisonburg. It's a very, very diverse area,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the school counselor for the most diverse elementary school in Harrisonburg. 99% of the children uh, are not Caucasian, and English is not their first language.
Okay.
And so part of his self-care mental health was to start to run. And he ran roads for probably 2 weeks and said no. And then he hit the mountains and nature, and he loves nature. His dad's a hunter, but he decided no. He wanted to be in thriving and striving, and that's how he chose nature. And
Yeah.
he just ran, and one thing led to another. And they would do little races. No, first they did, what are those things called? A mutter?
Oh yeah,
The
Tough Mudders.
mutters,
Yeah.
tough
Yep.
mutters.
Yep. Very familiar. That's the races
Yes,
I run.
yes.
Yeah.
So first it was just him and his wife,
Uh huh.
Melissa. Then they got his dad, Rudy, involved. So the three of them would do mutters. And then as the children got older, the three children did them. I was not getting dirty. I was not doing those. I cheered everybody on. So they did those, and then Daniel started doing half marathons. They were boring, and somehow we ended up in the woods, and he was doing trilogies,
Mm-hmm.
and he found this one because it was close to home. We still had the house in Hughesville,
Okay.
and we ended up here.
Yeah.
And the story that I had told you all earlier, and how it connected with his school, is that he took the typographical map and put it around his office.
Wow.
And when the children would come in, there was no need for language because they would look at it and he could just explain, kind of that he was running. And they all knew he ran because at lunch he would run around the school where his school was. There were hills,
Uh huh.
and they all would see him out running.
Yeah.
And he would tell them he was preparing to do that.
Wow.
And so it just became a community event there for him in his school.
Yeah. It's such an interesting thing as you talked about for his start off as his meant for his mental health, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And there's such a strong connection between your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical
Yes.
dynamics of your
Yes.
life, and how when one is suffering, how it affects the others, right?
Yes.
But also too is how you can use one
Yes.
to help
Yes.
compensate for another,
Yes.
right?
Very
And so
holistic.
yeah, and then even secondary. So he starts off with it for a personal reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it transformed into something where he was able to have a connection with other people through something that he found a lot of joy in, right?
Absolutely.
That's so cool. And then so and how long had he been doing races and in that what's the time frame for that?
Oh my. When we came here, we were thinking last night, well, 2015, we came here and Aspen was little. She's now 19, so she would have been 9, and she wasn't born when he started.
Wow.
So at least 19 years,
Okay.
15 years.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So started young when he was young.
Yeah.
He did not do it in school. He was a football player
Okay.
and a soccer player.
Okay.
Went to college on a football scholarship, but ended up soccer. Yes. So running was not anything that he did when he was young.
Yeah.
So.
And you said he progressed very quickly from the pavement to the dirt, right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of us we find the pavement punishing. It's almost as bad as the treadmill.
Yeah. He hated that too.
Oh, that's the worst. That is the worst.
Well, on Sundays or the weekend, we live close to Macedon Mountain, which is there near Harrisonburg, and we would all go. He would run his thing, and we would all either hike or run our own little thing. So the whole family, the five of them, and Rudy and I would just go out
Yeah.
and run, and so it became part of our tradition too as a family.
Yeah. No, it's so fantastic, and it's amazing how. And I will just say from a parenting standpoint, I've got 3 kids. I know Dave does as well. But you want to encourage your kids to have their own passions, their own things that they're innately gifted with, and you want to support them on there. But there's also something to be said with for them to share some of your own, right? Because there are so many life lessons that are learned in different aspects. Whether it's sports, whether it's something, as racing, or it could be hunting or whatever it might be. I know Dave and I, when we were growing up, fishing was a big thing for us. My dad, my grandfather fished. Bowling was another one. So, so, but it's important to develop those opportunities for shared time, right? And
It is.
it's really fantastic when they're able to do it. I will just mention too is that Dave has his daughters out and his wife, and they're actually running one of the aid stations, right?
Wow.
And my sister and her fiance are at another aid station, and I'm here doing the MC. So it's a family event just for and that, and it's really unique when we're able to do that in life, is find those opportunities for us to have that. They build memories. They build it's they say core memories, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
But that's fantastic.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But I appreciate so much taking the time and talk with us.
Yeah.
And you didn't realize today was the
I
day,
did not.
right?
I did not, because, like I said, today's the 2nd anniversary of his death, which was very sudden. He was misdiagnosed and at the little hospital where we live, and was taken to Richmond, Virginia,
Okay.
and which is a huge teaching hospital, and could not have had better care. I mean, we became family there. He was in the trauma part of the hospital, and they did everything they wanted to save this man. And last year we couldn't agree, but this time, Rudy and I just wanted to come here.
Yeah.
And when I looked it up, I'm like, the race is the same day. And he's like, I said, no, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And we wanted to come.
Yeah.
I mean, this is how much it is of a family thing. The boys put their trophies, because the one race we all ran together, the boys got their trophies. They put them in the coffin with their dad.
Wow.
So that's how much it meant.
How shared experience together.
Yes. So it's like you said about, we had dreams together. He would have been the son that we would have grown together with, and he would have been our trustee. He would have been the one we would have invested things with, and so to have those things happen. And what Rudy and I tell people is, don't ever go to bed at night mad with anybody, because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
Right.
And to share things like this, because again, you don't know.
You don't know.
You don't know.
And the attitude of gratitude is extremely important.
Yes.
And we kid around, obviously, we were kidding around just a few minutes ago, but talking about how when you have shared adversity, and it could be races like this, they build durability, they build character, but they're also too where it's you have to be grateful for the opportunity
Yes.
to be able to do that. So.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, it's just it is really quite fantastic. Well, thank you so very much for
Thank you.
sharing, and it was a
Appreciate
pleasure,
it.
opportunity to
too.
meet you.
Yes.
And Lord willing, we'll be here again next year.
I
So,
think we will too.
well,
I
thank
do.
you so very much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, and like I said, we'll be here next year. I look forward to seeing you again. Ooh, that would be yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm sure if you get a hold of Dave, he'll take care of you. Make sure. Yeah. So if it's better for you to volunteer later in the day or earlier in the day, he can get you in the right spot. So for sure. Yeah. Again, it was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you.